The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello. Thank you all for attending our webinar today on how packaging and direct mail can positively impact your bottom line, presented by Mary Dobsch. My name is Rocio. I am a programming manager here at SAGNY. Thank you for coming again. Mary?
Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for taking time out of our busy days to do this. My name is Mary Dobsch, and here, let me get us back on track here. For those of you who don't know me, I've been around a long time, and I've been lucky enough to be in this industry for 30 years. Recently, I've served on the PPAI board, which is a wonderful thing to do. I have been born and raised in Washington, Missouri, and most importantly, this industry is my life, and I do love what I do. I think what we want to hopefully you get out of today is the fact that we all love to sell promotional products. I think in our today's world, as you all know, if somebody needs a pen, they can Google that pen, and they have all kinds of options on where they can buy that direct off the internet. And it's in those commodity products, people are buying predominantly for price. So question is, can they get that pen for 39 cents, 49 cents? And if you're even in the loop, it's tougher and tougher to make money if it's not an established customer you have a great rapport with. So I think what we're hoping to just to promote and educate a little bit today on is how you can take a lot of that bidding out of the equation, because you're going to be offering more than just the product. At Chess, we have found that it's very possible to say, instead of, hey, I can get you that mug for 50 cents, okay, that's unrealistic. I can get you that mug for $2, but you can say, I can get that mug delivered to your client with some information for $5. So all of a sudden, it's not a bidding situation on where is the cheapest coffee mug. It's a situation that you're providing a solution for them and taking it all the way to their client. So distribution is key. And we're going to be able to pass that along to you a little bit. And on the screen you're looking at now, I think the one thing we all want to identify is your client wants to be branded. They want people to look at them and say, oh my gosh, I know who that is. And no one has done a better job of that than Tiffany's. I mean, there's not a female I know who wouldn't get that box and say, how cool is this? I know there's something fabulous inside. So branding and having that identification is pretty important. In the same way with the toothpaste, it might be a commodity product, but you're looking at that and you know exactly what that is that you're getting. As well as Apple, no one has taken a logo and done more with a logo than they have. And that iPhone box, right away, everybody gets inspired because they know what's inside. And then in the lower right-hand corner, that's a product of the chest. And what we've done there is we've actually shown how that FedEx logo could get incorporated, and that coffee mug is more, as I said earlier, is now a presentation. So there's a message underneath the lid explaining why you have that coffee mug, and it's in a very nice package. And I think the thing is, when you see the outside of the piece, you've already branded it, and they know who's represented there. The next page, it's all about gifting, and we know perception does become reality. When was the last time you gave someone a gift unwrapped? It might have been in a bag, gorgeous decorator bags now, but the piece, the way it was distributed, kind of set a tone for that particular event. On the left-hand side, you see the piece that's wrapped with it's craft, it's wrapped with twine, it's got some very basic printing, and the paper even looks recycled. So this is certainly a message about, wow, these people are really very concerned about giving that look. On the right-hand side, that's screaming, this is for a kid, and it's going to be fun, and it's a present. So what is that message that your client is trying to get out there, and how do you help them get that out into the marketplace? This is a very great example. How many of we have gotten these? The first thing in looking in that box is, okay, this is work, something's come back, and right away it's not a pleasant experience. So would you rather receive this, or would your client like to send this out? Okay, this is a package the chest had done, and we had put them in the mail for the client. A fun night in, and Infinera is the person who's putting it out there. You know, when you see this package, and of course it was sent through the Postal Service, you're going to want to open it because you know there's something exciting or something more inside. I think that first package you saw that looked a little more damaged and coming back, it's easy to set that aside and get to it later. Whereas this piece, the first thought is, I wonder what this is about. And I guess one of the things we use to measure here at our company is, when you look at that package, is your thought like, this is pretty neat, I kind of want to hang out with these people? And if that's the case, it's a success, because you made it inviting and you made it something that people are looking forward to. So we want to talk about how we get there. And first of all, your client has to have a goal. What are they trying to accomplish? Have they decided they need more sales? And there's not anybody out there who doesn't want more brand recognition. Is their goal to try to get new and more customers? In today's world, everybody's got the website, but how do you get people to show up there? And there's some very, very attainable ways to make that happen. And of course, once you get people to the website, you know, you've got them hooked. And the other thing that we do a great deal is, how do you get people to show up somewhere? You know, our time is so valuable. How do you make that so inviting that your client really gets people to be where they want them to be? And the other thing we see a lot of is educate potential clients or even existing clients on your brand. You know, of course, we all see Apple, and we know exactly who they are. We know what they represent, what they stand for. Can your client say the same? And if not, you know, how do you improve upon that? And B, how do they get new customers with that brand? So now we know what they're trying to do. We got to figure out how to put that plan together, because we all know a goal without a plan, it's a wish. So unless we put something together, we're not accomplishing anything. So how are they going to achieve the goal? Number one, is there a theme? Is there existing support literature, or is it something that you're going to be putting together? What are the tools that they have to get this out into the marketplace? And the other thing is this going to be exhibited at a sales meeting? Is this going to be something that while they're attending a trade show? So what's the venue you're using to best let them accomplish what they want to do? And more importantly, make it all a success. You know, because the one thing we find is everybody's willing to spend that budget the first time, but unless they actually get the results they intend, it's hard to justify sending that budget a second time. You know, I remember, as you saw, I was in this industry for 30 years. It's and in the day, it was very easy just to throw things out there, and it would be well received. In today's budgeting world, what is your return on your investment, or why would I do it? So those are the things that I think we can educate people on, how promotional products do that exactly, and how we can get a bigger piece of the pie in sharing that information. So now we're going to implement the plan. We know what they're trying to accomplish and how we're going to get there. This is where the fun part, in my mind, takes place. How do you put the promotional ideas and the collateral into the hands of the people they're trying to reach and achieve the goals that they want? And the thing is, there's opportunities for that. How is it going to happen? You know, it probably, with our specific industry, I think more things are handed out than any other measure. Direct mail, I can't wait to get more into that, because it is such a positive. And then depending on the size of the package, sometimes UPS or FedEx are more affordable, or even more practical. Packaging can accomplish a multitude of benefits, and I love this piece. And this is something we did for a Macy's promotion. They had an in-store shoe promotion. So as everyone knows, you have to educate employees on the best way to make something happen. So what was put together is, this is a box, it's our shoe box, and it had gorgeous Macy graphics on it. And so there's a recessed area on the left-hand side that all the literature about the promotion was placed inside, a whole stack of it, so every employee would receive some. The area on the right-hand side is where all the pens were placed that actually carried that promotion theme. So as you know, this could have been distributed in a padded brown envelope and given to each shoe department head. But I think what we could expect is, okay, here's another brown envelope. We're going to put it underneath the cash register and look at it later. Given in this manner, it's kind of fun. And, of course, right away you want to open it and see what's inside. So the hope was it was the opportunity for it to be handed out to the employees and actually read has been increased many times over just because of the perception of it. And again, it is special, and of course this promotion is special. And I think we've seen this more and more, that how do you get people to respond and how do you educate them? So we created the image, and of course there's brand recognition here. Everybody knows Macy's. This is a great slide as well. As you see the lip balm on the skin package postcard, we all appreciate lip balm. We probably don't go to a trade show and we don't get it, but just the lip balm itself can only carry so much information. So what is your company trying to explain? On this one, they're talking about a special awards program and prevent sunburn and chapped lips during that Hawaiian vacation, because of course that's what the goal is. So instead of just giving the literature and the lip balm, putting the two pieces together make a big, big difference. A good example is if you're handing things out at trade shows, all your clients that do exhibit at trade shows are handing something out, and then they're also handing out literature. Now that falls into the bottom of that show bag, and as we know, those show bags go home, and sometimes they sit for a couple days. So when people finally do get to it, do they ever put the fact that the person that handed out that pen or that lip balm is that person, that literature that probably isn't going to be read for some time? So I guess what our thing is, if you put the two together, before they rip the pen off, before they take off that promotional piece, they're going to gain some knowledge or information about your client. So this is a way, currently you might not be getting part of the literature budget. That might not be something you're involved in. This way, you're getting more of the budget that they're spending because you're incorporating it into the promotional product piece. And as you probably all know, I'm pretty certain this card was actually put in the mail, and anytime you mail a card with something attached, your response rate skyrockets. And on the left-hand side of the picture is a box that was produced for a technology company, and instead of having to print the literature as much, all that data is on the outside of the box. So and again, you're taking the valuable story, and instead of having to create extra literature, you've added it to the package and saved some money there. This is a great story as well. We all exhibit at trade shows, and I probably do more than anybody. And I think when you get there, you stand in your little 10-foot by 10-foot booth, and you hope people show up. Well, there's a lot of things that can be done to get people to entice people to come to your booth. And a lot of times I see more and more people doing the email type things, and you know, that's grand if somebody's going to take the time to print out that email and make sure they stop by that booth. What this is, it's a luggage tag built into a postcard. So it mails out as is, and then the recipient actually can punch out the luggage tag and the strap. And in this situation, what was the people that showed up in the booth, it was something to do with a dental type piece, and their teeth were tested for color and that type of market. But what happens is they put that luggage tag on their backpack or whatever they're carrying that day, so everybody through the whole trade show floor is seeing that Jazz has something going on in their booth. This is an actual order, and this client didn't ask for it. But what we recommend is when we're addressing that at the same time the card is being printed, why not populate the luggage tag? And again, it's just a couple cents more. But if you're anything like me, your intention is I'm going to go ahead and fill that out, but you set it aside. And you might not get to it as quickly as you would. But if that information is already populated with your information on it, oh my gosh, it's mine, they know me, I'm going to punch that out so much quicker, put it on my bag, and it's already done. And of course, it's going to look a lot nicer if it's been printed on there as opposed to your handwriting. So some people choose not to do that. They say it's concerning as far as security. I guess in my mind, that address is already on there because we're mailing it to them. So I don't know what the issue is there. But again, this has been done many times very successfully for people exhibiting at trade shows. Just recently we had someone come back, I think it was a 45% response rate, which is unbelievable, but I think they were giving away some kind of special new iPad. So if the gift is such that it gets people there. You know, what is that $500 investment if you're getting, you know, 800 people into your booth, or to your store, or to wherever it is. So great product, very affordable, and certainly does get the ROI the client is looking for. The other thing it's real important to do is deliver a gift with a message. On the right-hand side, if you think about it, if you got a letter in the mail from Husky Energy wanting them to buy their stocks or learn more about their product, you're probably not going to be real involved. But if that Husky Energy came in a can mailed to you with a stuffed husky with the literature, you're much more apt to read that information because of the gift you've received. And one of the first things we hear from people is, well, they don't have a budget for that. Well, I think the one thing we talk about is, instead of taking that and mailing that letter out to 5,000 people, if you mail a number 10 envelope, the successful expected response rate is 1%. And I guess in my mind, there's a lot of paper and postage going out that just gets thrown away. Because let's face it, in our industry, 1% isn't good enough. So if instead of mailing out that 5,000, mail out 1,000 or 500 to a more targeted group of people, spend the same amount of money, and you're going to get a 20 to 30% response rate. So, and again, you're probably getting better customers, and you're getting a much more focused project for your client. And the right-hand side, it was a holiday gift that some people were sending out. And I think the one thing we want to talk about here is there's a way to take a very simple box, and they did put just a logo on the lid, and then that shredded paper can make that product look so much more special than just having it handed to someone. And we did distribute that as well. Protect the product. Lately, we seem to be seeing more and more glassware in that type of piece. So on the right-hand side, Google had a special event, and these boxes were being handed out to the attendees of the event. So keep in mind, we assembled the boxes and shipped them to a location, and that night everybody showed up and got to take this home as a gift. So as you can see, it's a corrugated insert tray, which was made specifically for the 2 martini glasses in the shaker. Even though they're breakable, they were protected enough for transporting it home in your vehicle or your car or whatever the case may be. The right-hand side is it was a barbecue sauce company who wanted to create a sample kit. And that box actually was going to be shipped out to people. So in that environment, you really need to have those foam trays cut out, and that is going to protect the glassware so it is not hurt when it's individually shipped by UPS or FedEx or whatever mode of transportation. And to give you an idea, the corrugated tray is going to cost probably 50% of the cost of the foam tray of the same size. That line we get, and I'm sure we all hear it, that anything made from an oil byproduct, the price goes up, it never comes down. But that is what that foam tray is a derivative of. So that is going to have an oil byproduct in it. And in doing so, you just send us the product, and we ensure that the piece is going to fit very exactly into that for protection. The other thing that invite guests to an event. You know, that number 10 envelope is grand, but I don't feel the love there, nor do I feel the excitement. The left-hand side is a very creative piece. Peyton Manning actually has a wing of a children's hospital in Indiana, somewhere in Indiana, that he's a big donor of. And so this was their fundraising dinner. So, of course, since it's a circus theme, it's a 3-dimensional box, we actually created a clear acetate window that we screened the bars on, and that is an actual toy animal inside. And then inside each box, when they open it up, it's just a printed invitation to the event. But if they're asking people to give, whether it's $100 or $200 to come to that event, they wanted to do it in a fashion that was very, very creative and set the tone for that event. And I don't know of anybody that would not at least open that and read the invitation. And of course, you get the warm fuzzies of a children's type atmosphere, and I think it's been done very well. The right-hand side is more of a corporate piece. HP Hewlett-Packard once a year has their annual sales meeting type award event. And this particular year, I think it was last year, it was held in the Bahamas, and they actually had the whole hotel booked for their event. And just to show how creative they were, as you can see, these are luggage tags. Since they were going out all over the world, it wasn't just a domestic, it was all, I think we sent it to 45 countries. This was an international piece, so it had to go into an envelope besides. So the luggage tags were not built into the postcard. They were actually laid separately in the envelope with them. When you look at and I know it's hard to read on your screen, but on the back of each sunglass luggage tags, there's their name and information, and there's a number at the bottom. That is actually the room number that that guest is going to be staying in. The other thing they did is these are the blue sunglasses. They were blue, and they were silver, and they were gold. Well, the silver and gold were different levels of VIPs. So as soon as that cab pulled up to the event and they got out with the luggage, the bellman instantly knew how important that guest was. And of course, they took their luggage right from the cab to their rooms because the information was there. And the whole thing was to make it a very classy event. And just so you know, there was another set of luggage tags that were cut in the shape of flip-flops. And those were not the VIPs, those were just the other attendees. And those probably didn't get the same treatment, unfortunately. But again, just shows how you can customize the piece to make it very, very special for your client. The other thing we do a lot of is multiple product presentations. You know, one product is neat, but you put the whole piece together for a theme, how much more special is it? And we seem to do more and more lately, and I think maybe as the economy comes back, we're doing a lot more for vacation travel, tourism travel. We've done something for the state of Michigan, and this one, of course, Virginia is for lovers. And if any of you are closer to Virginia, you probably know how to use those tools better than I do. I do know the wine bottle opener because that's something I'm really good at. But again, if you'll see how we put these pieces together, in that particular box, we did put literature in with it. And then the one on the right side is actually a holiday gift, and that was done for Nintendo. And so these were high-class gifts. They actually had the two on the rocks glasses, and those of you that have seen the rocks that you put in the freezer and then you put that, I guess, in your bourbon so it doesn't dilute it, that was in there as well. What you don't see in this image is there was foam that went across the top of the box to protect it because these were shipped out individually. So we actually received the products from the client, and then we built the tray in the box around that, and I think that's the specific order. We shipped out 1,500 individually to the list that the distributor had provided to us. So the fulfillment for us is what we do. The other thing that makes it handy for us is the chest is in Washington, Missouri. So if we're shipping ground to the East Coast, it will get everywhere on the East Coast in 2 to 3 days. I think everything to New York for us, FedEx Ground is a 2-day delivery system. Everything to the West Coast is about a 3 to 4 day delivery system. So if you're doing a national campaign, it does get everywhere about the same time. You know, and the most affordable it's going to do. You're going to get the best rate on your postage because you're not going from coast to coast. Presentation is the most important aspect of any program, and we all know and we've all heard that when it comes to a retail piece, it's very common that the package costs more than the product. And I don't know that that's so wrong. Of course, since I make packaging, I think it's a great idea. But I think the key thing is this is the chance to bring you home the results that your client is looking for. The package is often the first impression of your company and your product. And I think it goes back to the whole thing. If someone calls a specific company, they get a live person with a pleasant voice the first time, you like that company. And the package is no different. You're delivering your customer success, and you're delivering it with a promotional product. And it does get the results your client's looking for, and I think that's important. Sometimes it isn't so much the product, it is the delivery system. I don't have an example of it on this particular webinar, our PowerPoint presentation. Years ago, we as you saw the can with the energy example on it. One year for the holidays, we've got boxer shorts with the company's logo repetitively printed on those boxer shorts. We put those in a can and seal the can, and the outside of the can says, all year long, we give you the shirt off our backs. For the holidays, we went one step further. And so then they mailed these boxer shorts out to people, and what a cute holiday gift that was. And I think the key was the boxer shorts, if anybody never wore those, it really didn't matter. The whole thing was the message and the delivery system, because no one could have gotten those and not smiled. So again, sometimes it's the message as much as the product. The direct mail, don't call it a comeback. And we do a lot of research on this. Direct mail is one of the most profitable channels marketers have at their disposal. And in some literature we've looked up, 80% of direct marketers plan to use direct mail this year. And there's a reason for that. It's because of the response rate. Direct mail rates is one of the highest return on your investment channels for both acquisition and retention. And again, if your clients are doing it now, are they doing it in the manner of a number 10 envelope and you're not involved in it, you have an opportunity to increase their response rates by multitudes and also get part of that budget you might not be getting now. As you can see, direct mail has how people want to be contacted. We'll get to internet marketing in a minute, but direct mail accounts for more than half of the current mail volume. Direct mail has a higher response rate by digital. How many emails do you get every day that you don't open? I often wonder what I'm missing, but it's as much as 30 to 40 times better than email. That's a staggering number. So if you look at that, I think you're right, email is so cheap, but it's not getting the response rate your client is looking for. And direct mail has the lowest cost per lead of any measured channel. And these are some benefits of, if you think about direct mail, it's very targeted. It's going to the people that you want it to be. It's very personal, and we haven't talked about it, but variable data is a big deal now, and most printers can do this. Incorporate their name, something personal about that person into the verbiage, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, they know me, and this is meant just for me. The other thing, it's flexible. You can mail it out when it suits your client, and it can be whatever the product is they're looking for. They're receiving something tangible. It's not that email that you know could have gone to 2 other billion people. It's something that they have in their hand. And the most important, you can get measurable results on it. And it's easy and it's cost effective. It can be. It's whatever your client, you can make the direct mail hit their budget. So the tips on staying on, this is some ways to look at the direct mail marketing and what are the ways to save money. And these, you're going to say these are very obvious, which they are, but I think in addition to that, it's something that some people overlook. So use the right format for what you're trying to achieve. We as direct mail people, because we have a commercial mail piece in-house, it's amazing how many times we get the format that isn't going to work at all. So that means we might have to charge additional for that Excel to be reformatted or to get it into the Excel format. So asking your client for the right thing the first time can save everybody a whole lot of money. And again, what's so funny is some of the people, we did a direct mail piece for Taco Bell. Okay, now they're mailing it to the Taco Bell stores. It was amazing to me how many pieces came back with the wrong address on them. You'd think Taco Bell would know where their stores are. But again, they had quite a few addresses on their list that didn't fit. And we do have the software here, so anytime we do a mailing, we run it through our postal software to ensure all the addresses that are on there are real mailable locations. But what you can't verify is Taco Bell really on that street corner, or is it had they closed? And so that's the thing that your client can be much more responsible for. And the other thing is track your responses. One of my favorite, we did a wonderful order once. It was for a bank with 28 branches. And so they did a traffic builder to get people to come into the branches, and this was targeting people who currently did not have accounts. And I think the mailing was it was over 200,000 pieces. So we're mailing to 200,000 pieces in certain zip sorts. They're supposed to go to their closest of the 28 branches, and the prize was a $5,000 CD. So they made it attractive enough that, let's face it, I'd go to a bank I'd never been in the door before if I had an opportunity to win that. So after the distributor was very excited about it because he thought this is going to be something that can win awards because this is so perfect. So of course you follow up later, and the distributor's comment was, all the bank could say was, it was the most successful promotion they ever did. So the questions asked, well, how many people showed up at each branch? How many new accounts were opened? How large were those accounts? Were there any loans made? They didn't have that data because they didn't track it. And I guess my thought is, if a bank who's very financially conscious doesn't do that, how many other customers aren't? And I hate to say it, but not that it's our responsibility to get them to do that. It is our responsibility because it makes you look so much better and so much indispensable if they have that data. So how can you encourage them? What can you provide them? What tools to make sure they get the information they need so they can, and again, in that situation, it was probably a very 28 different branches. The communication just wasn't what it should have been. I use efficient address formats. We kind of cover that. And then partner with your supplier. Basically, make sure everybody is on the same page and knows exactly what your client is trying to accomplish, because you're going to gain expertise from each other. The format, how are you going to get that out in the mail to your client? There's all kinds of things. Postcards are most economical. As you saw earlier, you can attach something. Letters, mailing a letter and just putting a product inside that letter, again, increases that response rate exponentially. Brochures and booklets, flyers and self-mailers, reply mail, customized market mail. I think you all have seen the repositionable notes that go on things now, and that you can even be on the outside of the piece. It does get people to pay attention and go a step further by opening it, and the product samples. Postcards. You think of postcards, you're thinking of that flat piece. Well, look at this. This is actually a puzzle with the postcard on the back. So how many times do we, we're taking the puzzle out of your healthcare needs. There's no puzzle to, financial stability, and it's a great way to incorporate that message. And with a postcard, people see the message right away. It is cost effective. We actually had done one where if they brought in a puzzle piece to that location, they could be included in a drawing for something. And again, it could be something that's a simple thank you. We've tried to implement thank yous for people who send in their new orders. It's amazing how many people call us and thank you for the thank you. So I think in today's world, we're all at such a fast pace that one little thing can make a difference whether you get another order from them or not, or for your client, rather. Customized market mail, we talked about the postcard already, but as we talked about, it gives your mailing a personality. Whether you're mailing a message in a bottle or you're mailing your luggage tags, that piece you're sending makes a statement about your client. The other thing is, it makes you stand out from your competition. It makes your client stand out from their competition. You're doing something different than what everybody else is doing. And I think the most important thing is attach an offer or an opportunity to respond. Because if they don't respond, you've just lost your opportunity for getting the measurable results. And that response could be as simple as in email, saying you received it. It could be your client following up with a phone call. It could be going to a website and answering questions. Or again, it could be a card that gets returned. But of course, then you're incorporating more postage. Repositionable notes. With the repositionable piece now, magnets are a wonderful thing, but again, if you look around the world, there's less and less metal. The repositionable can attach to anything. That postcard actually incorporates a calendar as well as a business card, and it's a great way to very affordably get information out to your client. Product samples. That can be done. This was actually a promotional product, very targetable. This hospital is trying to get physicians to join their group. So climb inside, one look, you'll be hooked. And the Carabiners does that. It's very engaging. In my opinion, it's fun. And as you can see, they've asked them for information there, and they have to reply. Again, there is the enticement to reply. And anytime you get a product, the chances of you responding have increased, and you're probably, if it's like me, it's like, gosh, they sent me something. I better reply to this and actually take action. So helpful for retaining and converting customers, and as I said, it's kind of persuasive. The direct mail message. What is it your client is to start out with, and what is it they're supposed to tell them? You visualize your audience. What's the demographic group? Let's face it, if you're targeting a group of art members, it's going to be different than if you're hitting that newly graduated college market. So, and always make it conversational. Sometimes you start reading a postcard and you think, oh my God, this is so canned. It isn't meant for me at all. So refer to the recipient. Use the variable data if you can. Explain, as we all know, what's in it for me. I mean, what is, I could care less why their company's going to grow. What is it going to do to help me benefit? Make sure they realize what the offer is, that they're getting something out of it. And again, back to that same old thing, include a call to action. Make sure they do something so you can track those results and create a sense of urgency. I've often said, people have said, how soon do we mail things out? I said, in today's world, if they get it 2 to 3 days before you want them to do something, that's perfect. If you give them 2 weeks, it'll never get done because it can get set aside because there's time, and at that point, you've lost them. So it has to be something that they have to do immediately. Use proper grammar. I think we all live in a typeset world. I know when it comes to texting, that autocorrect, how many times that we've said things we didn't mean to say. I'm actually on an advisory board for a local junior college, and one of the things, one of their biggest challenges is when the students are using emails. They said their email looks like texting. And they said, how do we get people to understand that's not professional and that's not how you should be going into the work world? And so I think that's real important that people actually take those steps and make sure it has a professional look to it. Okay, what challenges are we facing this year with the direct mail? The rate is uncertain. I think the post office, just like all of us, would like to make money. And how do they do that? It is a challenge. I mean, we as a direct mail person, the regulations continue to change, and we do have a person dedicated to keeping up with what those changes are. The newest thing I think most of you probably are aware of is if you're doing a bulk parcel mailing, it is now trackable. And in doing that, all the regulations have changed, the way the barcoding is done has changed, and make sure you're dealing with someone who is up with those changes and can implement them for your client properly. A 6% postage increase, we all hate to see increases, but if you look at the cost of a mail piece and you're mailing something for under several ounces, it's still the best bargain out there. We're working on the postal reform legislation, and that's one of the things. And there are too many rules. One of the things we have found is they've actually now made the barcode so large that their barcode regulations doesn't fit on the regulation they've set for the parcel size. So as you can see, it's just totally not logical. But then again, those are the things they're still working out. They came out with regulations before all the issues were ironed out. So what was supposed to be finite and complete January of 2014, we heard last week, has now been pushed back to January of 2015. So they recognize that there's issues. But again, as long as you're not trying to perform the direct mail yourself, you just need to make sure you're dealing with someone who is an informed direct mail or fulfillment center. How to overcome the challenges facing the post office. What we keep saying is just drink more. I'm kidding, but keep calm and overcome the challenges. Get creative. If you'll notice, a lot of suppliers have changed the sizes of their catalogs. Collaborate. The fact that we can track, and then of course get involved in what's going on so you're in the know. there's one way that brands can make direct marketing more appealing to their customers and their current customers. And this is what I think we try to do the most. Make the mailers useful. You know, what is it you're giving them that isn't going to get thrown away? We're all in a very a society that we want to recycle. We want to make sure that our world isn't being taken away from us. So in the example of the cans, they're great pencil caddies. You can use them for collection cans, and it seems like everybody here in our company has them on their desk with something inside of them. So make useful mailers. The clear tubes, again, very practical for use. When you send them out, open them with a proposition. What is it for them? Make it lumpy. Anytime there's lumpy, there's a gift. And anytime they think there's a gift, the chances of it getting opened and read is a given. Does your client want to introduce a new product? If it's something that's feasible to do that, great way to get them in front of their client. And make them creative. The more colorful, the more verbiage, the more exciting it is. And again, it just branded your client, and it gives them a personality. You know, include something useful. We go back to the pen or the lip balm. What's something everybody uses? I think the most popular insertion we've put in anything in the last 6 months, we have used more chargers, more USBs, more Mophis, everything that we're trying to get people to, they're being used in their everyday world is what we're seeing go into the package. Tailor content and consumer, specific age group, demographic, geographic area. You know, what is it? Like I said, you certainly got a great idea is to give someone in Seattle, Washington an umbrella, but that person in Phoenix probably wouldn't want it. Personalize, again, back to the variable data. It doesn't cost that much to put their name on things or incorporate it in the copy. And I think that's one thing we wish we could see more of, because again, it does improve your results in the attention it's going to get. As we all know, if there's not a value, people aren't going to pay attention to it. And back to that thing, partnering up. One product is great, but when you put those two products together and you make it a kit, it's got so much more personality. And there's things you can do by putting a stamp on it. If it has a stamp on it, and I don't know if you've all seen the new postal website, that you can actually put your customers' logos on the stamps. And again, it's going to get thrown away, but depending on who's receiving it and that impression you want to make, a stamp just made it personal. Thank you, and that's what we have for the presentation, and we do have plenty of time for questions and answers. The one thing I do want you to all realize, we do have samples of all these type of present pieces and the different things you can offer to your clients. So I guess, number one, my email address is there. If there's any examples you want, if there's any literature you need, please let us know, because I think this is something that this is a good starting point, but there's a whole lot more information out there in various forms that you can present to your client. Another great resource on this is if you're a member of PPAI, ppai.org. He has all kinds of information on the response rates in the promotional and the direct mail aspect as well. So taking it back to everyone there, are there any questions?
Hi, Mary. It's Rosia. Yes, there's a couple of questions here. One is from Ross Seaman. What are the dimensional limits to skin packaging?
And it can be traditionally, the one thing you have to know about the skin packaged postcards, if they're being mailed out, it has to have square corners now. And you can, but if it's being handed out, it can have the rounded corners, which of course look a little nicer. But it can be any size, but the one thing is you have to make a die to cut them out. The most popular is, I think, about a 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And the thing to know, because it cannot go as a automated piece. It has to go as a parcel, because it's, as you can see, it's not going to go through their equipment automatically. But there are tooling sizes for 8.5 by 11. But of course, the larger the size, the heavier the weight, the more the postage.
Okay, great. And then Paul Steinberg, it's more of a statement, says, clever to talk about proofreading and misspelled grammar. Nice touch. And Ross Seaman said, thanks, Mary.
Okay. Again, I do have I know we still have some time left, but more importantly, I do have my email there. If anybody has any questions at all, or any kind of information or samples you want to be able to present to your clients, there certainly is no charge for that.
Thank you, Mary.
Well, thank you all very much for attending, and everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you, Mary, for presenting, and thank you all for joining us on this session. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.